Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Simon with AvaTrade, and we're starting our weekly regular Wednesday webinar interactive trading conversations. I want to welcome everyone, especially new people. Special welcoming to you. People are still joining us. We're going to start. I'm an account manager, senior account manager with AvaTrade. I've been involved in trading for 24 years. It's been amazing, and it went by like 24 months. The first 11 years, I was a prop trader in New York City. And after that, I moved into a different way of trading and also started to mentor and educate others. And I have a great opportunity at AvaTrade to assist our customers here. What we're going to do here is very simple. And I'll just give you a little bit of an idea how this webinar came about. So we have a lot of amazing webinars. My friends, my colleagues and I, we do a few weekly webinars. We prepare it, we give it to you, and then the questions. And I had this idea to create a podium for you guys so you can come and ask the questions. So we don't tell you what we want to tell you, we actually get your questions and address them. So we here to discuss specific markets. You can feel free to ask questions about any assets that are trading in AvaTrade. We'll talk about technicals. If I know any fundamentals, I'll be happy to share with you. It's all public information, of course. So we ask questions, we discuss, we analyze. You're gonna write or type your questions into the questions window. I'll read them, and then we'll go one by one. We have up to an hour. So sometimes I have to beg for questions. I hope it doesn't happen today. Sometimes we have the crowd. I think last time we had the webinar that we went almost for an hour. So I hope today it's going to be the same. And also keep in mind that there are people that will be watching this on YouTube channel, and they have no ability to ask questions. So your questions are actually helping them to get information. Risk warning, you can find a full statement at avatrade.com website. We don't suggest any trades, of course. Now, here are the social media channels that I highly recommend for you to follow and to subscribe to. You have Telegram, you have X, and my favorite YouTube channel where you can find a lot of information, including educational material, tutorials, and of course the webinars. So if you missed the webinar or you think you'll miss the webinar, don't sweat. It's available in recording. You can access it anytime that you want to. Okay, that's it pretty much. We're gonna move now to the platform and we can start with questions. Again, we have up to an hour. Type your questions. I'll read them one by one, and we'll be discussing it, okay? Just give you an example. People like to know about commodities, including oil, gold, others, or currency pairs, or indices, or individual stocks, okay? Okay, great. Eric, thank you for starting the process. So we're gonna begin. Eric is asking, can we look at Alphabet? It's been on the decline since early July. Thanks. Okay, great. We're going to take a look at Alphabet, which is a parent company for Google. You're absolutely right. It's been declining. So this decline happened in a lot of stocks after we peaked July 10th, right? I'll just take a look. Apple did the same thing around mid-July, right? And Alphabet didn't recover as others. As you could see, Apple had a nice recovery recently since the inflation data shows better. Yesterday we had CPI, today yesterday the PPI, today the CPI, but Alphabet is not recovering, and it's very simple. You can actually research it. In US, the judges, the court said that actually the Google is guilty in being monopolizing the search engine. So since that verdict came out, Google said they will appeal it, but this is a serious accusation, and I think it's the first time the major accusation is being down in court. So not only that, they said Apple is also being affected. As of now, we don't see much, but they say the Apple will be or is affected by that as well, because they had this agreement that Google will be the main search engine for the Apple products. So you can search the news for Google. You will find it. I think it came out about a week or more ago. So that's actually what happened. And before that, there were of course the earnings and other things that affected the stock. So I think this is a serious thing with this accusation. And also the judges, they're trying to break, the last thing I saw, they're trying to break the company into different parts of different businesses. So I don't know how that's going to work out. So when you hear something like that, definitely the stock is being affected. All right. Great question, Eric. Thank you. Shadi is asking, did you try automating your trading strategy through algo trading? What is your experience? Shadi, I'll be happy to give you a short answer as I'm waiting for the questions on the topic. Okay. But I did try starting 2014. I hired a few programmers that they automated my my strategies. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not easy. It's not very easy to create a robot or EA that works, and they don't work all the time. All right, great question. Okay, we're having a next question. Ashraf is asking, what's your take on gold, taking into account the Fed's decision on the interest rate, but gold still seems to be on the downward spiral? Good question. I like the gold topic. Okay, and this is not the first time. I know the people here, the regulars, they probably be saying that I repeat the same thing, but gold has a few jobs or few titles or few services that it serves. It's inflational instrument, so it's being affected by inflation and the value of the dollar and so on. Sometimes gold and dollar go opposite direction, as it did today. We had a dollar moving higher and gold moving lower in the past few hours. But initially, when the CPI data came, they took it that it's a little bit better than expected. I don't know if I agree with that, but initially gold went down, a dollar went higher. So we established that it goes opposite of a dollar is in inflation, right? Now, another title, which is a classical title of gold, is the safe haven. So when you see the market, safe haven, when the markets are tanking or crashing or selling, the gold is gaining momentum as the money goes into safe haven. So today, after the numbers we had, stocks went up, indices went up, and gold went down. So it's kind of a two vessels that if the money goes into equities, it goes out of gold, and vice versa. Sometimes it actually happens that it kind of there were days, I'm sure you saw it, when all three assets went up. Market went up, gold went up, and dollar went up as well. So it's not 100% correlation, but a classical scenario. It's a safe haven process. When the market goes down, gold goes up. Also, when the dollar goes down, gold goes up, but doesn't work all the time. Also, there were times when actually there was a physical buying in gold was happening. So gold had a run to the upside when central banks were buying. I think it was beginning of this year, around that time, when the central banks were loading on physical gold, offsetting the inflation, right? So those are the things on gold. Good question, Ashraf. Thank you. Ashraf is asking another question. Dollar index is low, yeah, but gold fell hard. Don't forget, gold made, not in futures, but I think the spot gold yesterday made all-time high again. So there's always a profit taking process going on as well. And it's not the first time. If we take a look at gold, take a quick look. Every time gold gets to the level of all-time highs, the sellers come in. As you could see, they're trying to push it lower. So it didn't really fall hard. It just fell off the highs. It's still, we are positive on the week. We are almost flat on the month. And we are just correcting what happened here on the 12th, right? This move, even though on the futures we don't see, because this is the CFDs for futures, what you see here, but the spot gold, I believe, day before yesterday, which was Monday, made all-time high, I believe. So this is normal correction. As you could see here on this chart, the first attempt was here in April. The high was 24.31. We've been trading above it, and this move took us above again. So as of now, maybe the 24.31 area will try to establish support there if we're planning to go higher. There was an article on Bloomberg, not on Bloomberg, but on Barron's, that they said the gold is the best asset within the commodities. As it's on the year, it's been more profitable than any other indices or commodities, I believe. I'm not sure if cocoa maybe is more on the year, but it's already went down. Okay, so that's gold. Thank you, Ashraf, for great questions. Guys, we're ready for more questions. We're doing great. We're about 15 minutes into the webinar. We have a nice crowd there. People that came maybe after the announcement or explanation, please feel free to type your questions into the questions window and we'll address them. We're talking about specific instruments, any market asset instrument that you'd like to know about or discuss, please type your question into the questions window and I'll read it, okay? Eric is asking crude oil, please. Beautiful. I think crude oil, currently, it's all about Iran. Are they going to hit? They're not going to hit. They're playing the game. They promised hard retaliation to Israel after Israel took out the leader of Hamas. They've been threatening a lot. There's been a lot of diplomatic processes going on in U.S. and some European leaders and leader of Iran. This move here happened on the 12th, right here, when there was a lot of opinions reflected in press. They said that Iran is going to attack on this day, and we are cooling down as it didn't happen, thank God. So that's as far as oil. Now, as any market, you know, there are two aspects. There's the supply and there's demand. So all this move was a fear of supply again, as we did around here. This fall was here is a fear of demand, which is still in place. I think OPEC said that demand is going to dry. So technically, as you could see here around this 72.5, we just recently tried that level again, as we did back in February, and then we were here in beginning of the June, and we're here again. So I think as long as the geopolitical situation in the Middle East is not stable, oil could have volatility as we see here. And when things, I hope, I don't want to say if, but I hope when things settle and, you know, it's going to be peaceful. I don't know if ever, but I still hope for it. Then the supply fear will go away, and then we'll refocus on demand again. And I guess that's the story on oil. So if you trade oil, you need to watch what's happening in the Middle East. And another big aspect is China. That's on the flip side, on the side of demand. The China index is super weak. And as you could see, it has a tremendous pressure to the downside, which is showing the lack or low demand from China, which is a huge market for oil. Okay, good question. Next question, Ashraf is asking, is there a reason why is it so? What's your take on Tesla? Tesla is, I believe, trading again above 200. It did. We came right back to 200. So this 200 is a magic number here. And Tesla, as you know, this move up came when I remember I was doing webinar. I remember the numbers. They came up with the report on July 2nd, the beginning of July, for the sales of the cars, and they sold, I think, 440,000 cars. And the prediction was 420,000. It was a nice move to the upside. Then we went down. That the earnings came out not so great. Then they had some recalls and other issues, so it came down hard, as you hear. Also, market went down from the peak, as we said, from the 12th of July. And we had this talk between Trump and Elon Musk on the X platform, which they said it was glitching. I didn't watch that. But we should watch this 200 number, and definitely we should watch general market, what the market is doing. As you've seen, there was huge volatility in the market. It's settled now, and we just had CPI numbers and market kind of deciding which way to go. So that's general market, which any stock is following, especially major stock as Tesla. And technically, we should be watching this 200 level and see which way it's right. Also, right on 200 moving average here, right? So we're going to continue watching that. Great question. Thank you, Ashraf. Ashraf is also writing oils on the low. What's the reason with the cat pairs doing well? Okay, I understand your question. Just for people that don't understand the connection, Canadian dollar is sensitive to oil prices. Canada is one of the sellers of oil, and with oil prices, Canadian dollar is also reflecting that direct correlation sometimes. What happened here, actually, it did react. The only thing here, that this was the weakness of US dollar. But if you take a look at oil, when it started moving higher on the 7th of August, right? So if we take other Canadian pairs, let's take a look if that makes sense. As you could see here, the Canadian dollar is not really reacting in the right way. It had some weaknesses. I think one of the reasons there was, I believe it was an interest rate cut on Canadian dollar, if I'm not mistaken. I would need to check that. And any correlation, it's not really 100%. So even though Canadian dollar is reacting to oil prices, but not always, and not, excuse me, and not 100%. So for instance, we have here the selling of the oil the last 2 days, and Canadian dollar is not reacting in the direct way. And also important to remember, when you look at any pairs with Canadian dollars, there's two sides to the equation. So if it was only for Canadian dollar, maybe it would act more connected to the oil, but it's also, you need to take into consideration the other pair. In this case, it's US dollar as well, which has its own move, right? Okay, next question, Ashraf is asking, Eurocat was on the run. Okay, I agree with you. Okay, crude oil, Wolfgang is asking, crude oil at the moment, we are in a triangle move. How can I adjust in which direction it will follow with your information? First of all, I said about the oil, I'm not sure which triangle you're talking about. You can probably find a triangle. I'm not sure. I'm not a big fan of formations of those triangles, butterflies, and other things. Again, I'm not against all this, but I'm a believer. If you like to see something, you will find it on the chart. I like levels and price action more than that. So as we said, in this case, oil currently, it's more fundamentally traded than technically trading. And how do you know? This is your example. When all over the place, every news was screaming that Iran is going to attack Israel on the 12th, the night of the 12th or 13th. And this is actually a day of mourning in Israel when Israeli people remembering the destruction of the Holy Temple. So it's kind of a day of mourning and not such a positive day. So they were saying that Iran is going to attack on that day. So as you could see, this move was purely fundamental. And when the papers start screaming that there's almost an agreement and there are conditions and so, the next 2 days, take a look, we almost erased this huge candle here. So I'm not sure if you want to pay attention to. Okay, Wolfgang, I'm really sorry you're saying, and I don't mean to criticize you. Wolfgang saying on 1 minute chart, you don't make your decision 1 minute chart unless you're a scalper and you're just getting in and out. 1 minute chart doesn't say much for direction of any instrument. Okay. So here's your 1 minute. Just for an example, it's actually a good lesson here. So what do you see in 1 minute? Nothing. You see that we hit the low here, and then we went higher. We made higher low, at the same time lower highs, and we come down. So how can you trade it? It's 40 cents or 50-cent move in 1 minute chart. If you want to really understand what the instrument is doing, it's very important to zoom out and try to see what's happening, as we did at least on the daily chart. See what I mentioned to you, that oil comes to around 72.5, and every time it bounces from here, as we did here and here. And of course, you can use a smaller time frame. I'm not sure if 1 minute is, again, unless you're a super scalper, a high frequency trader, but you can look at the small time frame to get a better entry as well. But to analyze them, kind of, you can't predict anyway anything, but to try to analyze the market, you need to see a higher time frame than 1 minute. Okay, it's very important. Okay, Eric, great question. The 10-year bonds are at 3.8. How does that influence stocks? For 10-year yields that I talk about a lot, around 4, it's a key level there. Every time we get 4 and higher, it puts pressure on gold, and it's good for US dollar. Below 4, it releases a little bit pressure from gold and gives pressure to a dollar. So at this point, the bonds are sensitive, and I think they went down. The yields went down. As by the way, the idea of the September 18 decision of the Feds, it used to be priced in that we have 25 basis points cut. And since the last data of the PPI and CPI, actually, we have a huge, I think after today's report or even before, you know what, I'm just going to take a look now really quick. What's the latest? based on CME traders' prediction on. Basically, there's a huge chance. It was 50-50. Oh, now it decreased. Okay. So before the CPI number today was a 52% chance that we actually 50 basis points cut on September 18. And since the last number actually decreased to 37.5% and 62.5% probability that we have 25 basis points. So, and of course, the bonds are sensitive to it, as it's all not based but sensitive to interest rates. So as long as we're below 4, it's better for markets, it's better for gold, and worse for dollar. And the lower we go, the better conditions for markets and gold. Again, normally it could be anything, and worse for dollar. If we go back to 4 and higher, it will put pressure on the markets, the equity markets and gold. And dollar at this point is kind of tricky because it's already almost a closed deal. There will be a cut. Now the question is it 25 or 50 basis points? All right. Great question. Thank you, Eric, for this question. Thank you, guys. Wolfgang, good question. Ashraf, we still have time, about 30 minutes into the webinar. If you guys have more questions, I'll be happy to address them. Let's use the time practically, right? So I don't see any questions coming in. So again, please remember about the social media, especially the YouTube channel. Subscribe, click on that bell. If you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to write your comments and questions. And have a great week, the rest of it, a successful week. And we should be back next Wednesday. Take care, all the best.